Football, the beautiful game. Every Saturday, hundreds of thousands of football fans across England travel down the road to watch their local team play. But for fans of Gloucester City, it's a little bit different. The Tigers currently play their home games at Whaddon Road Stadium, home of local rivals Cheltenham Town. Why aren't Gloucester City playing in Gloucester then? Well, in 2007, Gloucestershire was hit by some of the worst flooding that the county has ever seen. The flood brought with it lots of sewage from a nearby tip onto the pitch at Meadow Park, leaving it completely unsalvageable, with the stadium wrecked beyond repair. Right here is where the goal would have been. Many goals, important goals, were scored here by the Tigers. And here we see some of the turnstiles. Still work just about, which I'm quite surprised about. So, sad to see. Really is. A study in 2010 by Sport England found that Gloucester was one of the most deprived areas for sporting facilities in the country. And despite Gloucestershire enjoying such success with their football teams, with Cheltenham Town and Forest Green Rovers flying high at the top of the National League, it is clear that interest in sport in the city has dwindled since the football club were forced away in 2007. Since then, the club has also groundshared with Forest Green Rovers and Cirencester Town, meaning loyal supporters have travelled hundreds of miles for home games. Now though, the club are closer than ever to a return, with a reserved matters planning application finally being submitted to the council. Club chairman Mike Dunstan told me just how good it felt to finally hand over the application.
So excellent. It's just another step on the journey, obviously, and the big thing is to build the stadium, but it's an important step. It's one which has been hard won. Obviously, the outline planning permission gave us, the cast iron guarantee that we could build there, and now this actually gives us the green light to progress and to knock the old stadium down and start the work. The plan is that we will be back into a Grade B standard stadium, which is standard for this league, the season after next. So what we'll actually have to do for that, obviously knock the old stadium down, raise the ground up and put all of the groundworks in, which will probably take about 6 months. Obviously then you lay the pitch, and the building part is actually by far the easiest part.
The stadium brings so much more to it than just a football team though. Having ground shared at Cheltenham Town's Whaddon Road Stadium for 6 years now, the City of Gloucester's businesses have missed out on trade that comes with travelling away supporters. The Tigers recently hosted FC United of Manchester at Whaddon Road, with the town of Cheltenham benefiting from the 700 travelling FC United fans. Now this was the away stand, not much cover for the travelling supporters of away teams. And well, you just have to look really and see there's not really much room for standing near the bottom. With the club returning to the city, they also bring with them their Young Tigers initiative, a scheme that brings young footballers to watch the games in a bid to bring back the younger generation that has been lost by playing away from Gloucester for so long.
I think it's really important, it's not possible for kids to just make a spur-of-the-moment decision to go to football at the moment, because they've got to get parents to give them a lift and whatever. So that generation of people, Neil Mustoe being one of them, the youth team manager, who just cycled down to the ground and watched the game, they've not been able to do that.
Tim Harris was manager of Gloucester City when they were turfed out of Meadow Park in 2007, and he has paid tribute to the fans who have stuck by the club no matter what, whilst also remembering the ones who won't get to see the new Meadow Park.
The difficulty we've had at playing at Forest Green and Cirencester and here at Cheltenham, there's been a lot of fans that have given up hope. Fortunately, there's some real hardcore fans, never say die, and it will be a great moment for all those people. And also some of the people that during those 8 or 9 years that are unfortunately no longer with us, because my association with the club goes back a long way, and we've lost some very good people over those 8 or 9 years. So, from a personal point of view, I'll be thinking of them and just be proud to be back in the city of Gloucester. Due to the various planning applications that the club has had to submit to Gloucester City Council, it is understandable that the fans have become frustrated.
For a planning application to be successful, it must follow these steps. Step 1. Submission of the application to the Council's Development Control Team. Step 2. The assigned case officer checks and then validates the application. It is then sent for consultation for a period of 21 days. Step 3. The application is heard at Planning and Regulation Committee, and then elected councillors grant planning permission with conditions. Step 4. That's when the building work actually starts. The building work must be completed within a set time limit, and it must comply with the set conditions. Regular site monitoring then takes place, and action can be taken if conditions are not complied with. They say that loyalty in football is a dying trait. Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone more loyal to a football club than Tom Webb. Having made nearly 650 appearances for City, Webb is one of 2 current players to have played at Meadow Park, the other being current player coach Mark Richards. I spoke to Webb to find out what he thinks the new stadium will do for the club he has played for since he was a schoolboy.
I think it's finally they can start making some strides and progress to get home and start hopefully building a side that's going to start competing at a higher level. I think it's been so long now. I think the city has grown. Certainly that end of Hempstead is becoming quite an area with the docks and things like that, and I think there'll be a lot of more fans and youngsters who actually want to come to the ground and watch the team, and I'm hoping that will happen when we get back there.
One of the problems that the Tigers face is to do with lack of funding. The club can apply for various grants from the Football Association and the Football Foundation, but there are other options available to them. In February 2016, the club received a boost as leader of Gloucester City Council Paul James announced £100,000 of ring-fenced regeneration funding to help their cause. I sat down with Councillor James in December of last year to gather his thoughts on the whole saga. It's been 8.5 years now since obviously the floods in 2007 completely devastated the stadium. Why aren't Gloucester City home yet? What's gone wrong?
As you'll recall, there was the bigger plan for the new stadium, and then all of the commercial development alongside it, which would help to finance it. And in essence, I think the problem with that was it was too ambitious, and because the various flood compensation elements of it cross so many different people's lands, it was a heck of a job to get all of the consents.
Gloucester is primarily seen as a city that prefers the oval-shaped ball of rugby. However, this is disputed by those associated with the club.
Gloucester have a very good rugby club, and they have a magnificent stadium. But I think Gloucester City Football Club has a part to play in its city and its heritage, and it has done. I mean, it's been going 133 years. You know, what we need to do is to make sure that when we go back that we've got the foundations right, we encourage the youngsters, we get some more business people involved, and it's a big club.
So the example I always give to people when they talk about being a rugby city is that Wigan is a rugby city, but they managed to get themselves a Premiership football club as well. Now, okay, the Premiership football club is no longer a Premiership, and it's also in a lot of trouble financially, but they managed to get the 2 sports up to a really good standard, and there's no reason why a city the size of Gloucester can't support a Football League team and a Premiership rugby team. Absolutely no reason why not at all.
I think there is a massive pocket of people in Gloucester who love football and don't necessarily go and watch the rugby. I think there is a place for both sports. I think what people have got to remember is that we're only 2 leagues off, Football League, and it's the club are doing so well to sustain Conference North football, and I think any owner or any backing or any extra money that comes in have got to realise that it's 2 promotions, you're in the Football League.
It's been over 3,000 days in exile now for Gloucester City Football Club, and during that time they've been through a lot. They've ground shared with several teams throughout the county, and they've nearly gone bust, but they only want one thing: they just want to go home.
It's history. We can't change that. What we can change is the future.
In one way, the journey starts from that point. I think a lot of people think that's the end of the journey, but it's not. It's actually the start of the journey.
We get back, we'll start to get a bigger budget, bigger variety of players, and hopefully the club can move forward, because that's what it needs.